Yeah.
And I mean, like, I remember watching one interview on a US talk show where they were talking about whether or not sex education or gender issues should be discussed with kids in school.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and I think the case there, if I remember correctly, was for 7 to 8 year olds, the teachers were giving them like exercises to think about, okay, it's okay if you're not a girl or a boy, or you're non-binary.
mm, mm.
So there was a protest amongst the parents. They're like, what the fuck is going on? So they brought some of the parents on the talk show, and of
Yeah,
course some people from the LGBTQ community.
yeah.
And at first, I mean, I am still not really sure how to think about this. And I think being a
Mm,
parent, there's so many perspectives that did not occur to me. And one was two parents who said that, okay, they actually have no issues and they are supporters of the LGBTQ movement. It's
mm,
just that by it being taught in schools,
mm,
um, they will now have to have the conversation with their kids,
mm.
which maybe they were planning to have when the kids were older. So
Yeah.
suddenly it is thrust upon them. And I was like, oh shit, I never thought about it that way.
Mm, mm, mm.
Um, and and I mean, I don't know, as a parent, like how are you thinking about this? I mean, of course, there's like, for me, okay, just married, slumber party, Harish, and all, no kids yet. But as a parent,
Yeah.
any additional perspectives?
Yeah, I mean, last week I was talking to a couple of parents as well who said that, yeah, that exactly that happened. That conversation was thrust upon them because they they signed their kids up for one of those holiday camps, and they had to fill out a form, and on the form was asking for the gender of the child, male, female, or non-binary. So at the end of the day, when the kids came
Uh,
home and talking to their parents, they asked, "Mommy, Daddy, what is non-binary?" So it's literally
how old
what
were the
they.
kids? How old were the kids?
I mean,
In
7 and
Singapore?
9. Yeah, in Singapore. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you see, the way you're reacting to it, right, is it really highlights, I guess, the generational difference between the teacher's generation and even the kids, right? Where I think
Yeah.
via social media, via everything that the kids watch and all that, they're much more open and exposed to, whether it's LGBT characters in shows or LGBT personalities and all that. So to them, it's probably not as big a deal, right? Uh,
Mm.
but then for our generation, it's like we are very shocked when we see that, hey, wow, this non-binary thing is being listed there and all that, Uh, and the thing is that we're not well equipped to explain it to our children either,
Mm.
right? That's
Mm.
the thing, like children ask us, but actually maybe we are much less equipped to describe it compared to, let's say, a 15-year-old or 16-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
So that's the strange transition that I think our generation is stuck in, right?
But then
We
what are your parents? What are your sorry? You finish your thought?
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, maybe related to that. I guess those my friends, those parents, I think they were just basically, forced to sit down and talk to their kids about, some, just talking about how some people do not fall into the category of male and female, and they that's how they identify as non-binary lah. So I think is they took it as trying to explain the facts, what the facts were, in the sense that
Mm.
I think you couldn't. It's very tough to go into a debate about, is it biology or is it how what you think your gender is, blah blah, things like that. But it's clearer to just state what it means to be non-binary. It just means that you don't identify as being a male or female, right? Whether
Mm.
it's
Mm.
because
Mm.
of you believe biologically that there's something that's not male, not female, or you that's how you identify. I think that is a question for later. But
Yeah.
just stating that there's some people who don't identify that way, then maybe I think
Mm.
it makes it easier for the kids. Because I think I think even for myself also, like, just learning how to explain certain things about the world to a child is very there's a tendency to for young parents and all to want to hide reality from the child lah. And from more and more literature that I'm reading, they say that it's not a good thing to tell a lie, or try to hide the reality from your child by masking it as something else. It's better to be factual about it, and really try and state the facts, the most simple facts of the situation to the child, and it will lead to awkward situations where your child will say random awkward things to strangers, but that's better in the longer term than to lie to your child and keep them in a state of try to keep them innocent and not know about what the facts of the world are, such that later they get a very rude shock when they discover the truth and realize that, oh, actually, yeah, my parents haven't been telling me the truth about a lot of things, so yeah, there's a lot of when you ask this question about parents, I think it's a very complex question that it's still out there, like how to talk to your child about difficult topics or more complicated topics like that. Like people, I think a lot of young parents are still finding their feet about it. So there's no one right answer to it, lah. Yeah.
And I guess it also depends on the age of the child, right?
Correct.
Because I mean, of course, if you're like two or three in nursery and all, and they're already asking kids like to identify, that's like it's very complicated lah. But coming back to this issue, I think there's gender and then there's sexuality lah, and I think like I cannot imagine being a teacher, and ultimately I think what the debate centers around is like not coming out, not making an announcement, but
Yeah.
just that if you're heterosexual, you can share details about your family, or you can talk about your child, you can talk about, and sometimes that factors into teaching lah. I mean, as a teacher, you spend how many hours a day with these kids, right?
Yeah.
So parts of your personal life might bleed into it lah. So I don't really agree with the argument that some parents take that, oh, you keep your private and personal life separate. Of
Yeah.
course, your personal life, you don't want to fucking just tell all all your family problems, just come and dump it on your kids.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's just like how to navigate it as someone who say is gay, you have a boyfriend, and especially when it's almost like that don't ask, don't tell policy in the US.
Yeah.
It's a bit hush hush, but now when the whole discussion is coming to the fore, what do these teachers do lah,
Yeah.
because I can imagine like the apprehension also, if you come out, confirm there'll be some people either within the schools, authorities or parents who will make noise like. Then it becomes like, wow, do you want to go down that path lah?
Yeah. And I mean, is it even realistic to think that a teacher can so like really separate his or her identity from what he's teaching and all that, right? Is it even realistic to think of it that way?
The one thing I know, like in secondary school, when we're all just like horny preview fucking horny boys. We're horny boys. I remember whenever like there was a attractive female teacher that came, like relief teacher and all. Of course, we'd be, hey, is she married? Is she? But it was almost like a vault. That sort of info, right? Like you almost never knew.
Yeah. Actually, that was something I wanted to ask you. Do you recall teachers being very open about their personal lives back in school and things like that?
Okay, so off the top of my head, I think if they were married, they might be a bit more open. But if they were not married, right, I don't recall knowing anything about them.
Yeah. That's my recollection of teachers in school as well. That we knew almost nothing about their life outside of school, right? Other than that, maybe like they're married because they obviously you call them Mrs. Tan, whatever. They're married and all that. But I never knew like how many kids they had. I never knew they had daughter or son. I never knew what they did on the weekends. And now I think about it, it's crazy because it's like someone that you practically see every day, but you have no clue about what their life is like outside of the office or outside of the workplace and all. It sounds crazy to me, because in this day and age, we share so much. Once you follow someone on Instagram, you even know what their daily schedule is like, pretty much, right? You get all the updates and all that. But so it's I'm just like, wow, that means maybe back then really there was a very I mean, maybe back then, maybe even now, I'm not sure. Maybe they were much more protective of their personal lives from students, right?
I think so. And I remember a few times seeing like my teachers with kids. I was like, oh fuck, they actually have kids.
Yeah.
It felt like they're like this surreal kind of like fictional
Figures,
characters.
right? Yeah.
These avatars lah. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel maybe that is better. Like,
Mm.
uh, like what you said, right? Like right now, you with Instagram and all, you immediately get a peek into someone's personal
Yeah.
life, lah.
Yeah.
And like sometimes, is it necessary? Is it good? Is it healthy? Must every interaction be something that really goes that personal? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like now, when I think back about my relationship with my teachers last time, it was very, yeah. There's certain teachers who are funnier. There's certain teachers, but I like that it was just, I wouldn't say superficial,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it was not even transactional. All those sound very negative, but it
Yeah.
was focused, lah. And I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's also the generation, the way
Correct.
people think about it. Like, and imagine students these days, they're like, no, if I'm getting knowledge from someone, I need to know who they are.
Yeah.